All right, hello, welcome. This is our first recording, and we're going to do an introductory recording. First off, just wanted to share our awakening story, our path to being awoke. And we thought it might be good for anybody listening out there to have an understanding of what our basic beliefs and understandings of the truth are. So I am urbanamp. I'm here with my compatriot.
Hello, I'm Nijii.
And we're up on this rooftop out here in the smoggy Los Angeles. And it is, what is today's date?
Today is December 21st. It's the solstice, winter solstice, tonight.
All right, so how about if you could start us off?
Okay.
Nijii, if you could just tell us about, obviously, these aren't our given names, obviously. This is what we choose to go by. That might even be interesting, is if you want to explain what Nijii means to you, and why you call yourself that.
I chose Nijii as far as being a native of North America. I chose something that was very kind of heartfelt, something dear to me. Just the way that the indoctrination that we get from this society here is it's very blinding, but
it's like the word is kind of unusual in that I don't really recognize maybe what language or ethnicity or region that comes from, which I think is very telling, right? Because
yes, correct.
Apparently, you know the history way more than I do about this stuff, but apparently it's related to
the Native American tribe. We can't use Native American, because if you were born here in the last 200 years, you are Native also. So that phrase has been hijacked. So just want to use the word Nijii, meaning fellow or friend, in the Native indigenous people that were here before the colonization of the European.
It's like a link back, right?
It's a link back, yeah. That's all. Just paying homage.
More authentic.
Yes.
Which it's very difficult to. That's just very difficult to navigate. I think just the more that you learn about the truth of things and how everything really is, it's like, oh wait, what's an African American? What's a Native American? What's a Latino? And all these things become. It becomes apparent that these are all terms and words that someone somewhere is told us to use. We've just been, like you said, indoctrinated to use these terms. We don't even know what they mean, and even the people that might fit into those terms, right?
Correct.
Maybe a Latino person probably doesn't know what that term means, and whether or not that even really applies to his his or her racial or genetic background or regional background. It's so I thought it was really interesting when you Nijii, because it's kind of unusual, but also it kind of obviously speaks to some kind of a hidden history. I think it's important to bring stuff out.
Which history shouldn't be hidden. It should just be factual. It shouldn't be. There should be nothing hidden about it. It happened. It happened. If it didn't, it didn't. It's just.
It seems pretty simple, right?
It's simple. It
seems
pretty simple, but
that's it.
Like I said, it is true. Knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the more power you have. It's.
So let's. Okay. So, what do you think is like? How did you come to this sort of deeper understanding of the world? And like obviously you have an interest in sort of the hidden histories of peoples. So how did you sort of find that interest, or how did that pathway open up for you?
It opened up kind of in grade school. You hear about Columbus, obviously discovering a land where people are already here, and it's that always just resonated with me. Just knowing how you can discover anything with somebody already there. So, and talking to my grandparents, and their and their grandparents being of indigenous descent, and hearing their story was always it always fascinated me. So kind of think from that standpoint, I was always kind of questioning authority and what was said, not really trusting what was given to me. There's always two sides to a coin. So just doing background, aunts and uncles hearing the story, and things just made more sense that possibly you could have African descent, but most likely it's probably they were already here, and just reclassification of that. Yeah. So
you found out by asking like your relatives,
asking grandparents to speak about
where they came from.
Yeah, correct.
That's okay. That's correct. Really cool that you. Yeah, that's really cool that you have like that you had. I mean, I don't know if you still do, or if having access to.
Yeah, still got access to some of the papers, but like I said, those documents have been forged. There's been, and that's you can look that up yourself too. It's not hard, look up the Dawes Act, and these are things that are written in the U.S. Foundation, with tribes, being pushed westward, and these are facts. These are stuff that it's hidden history, and that's probably the more exciting than what's being given to you.
Yeah, I find it very. It's kind of, I don't know what's the word. It's pretty awesome, right? That like, despite all of the efforts that were obviously put into trying to hide the true nature of, like, let's just say, like, we're talking about the history of North America, right? Or I guess the Americas,
correct?
And the original peoples that inhabited this land, like that, despite all those efforts, somehow the true history has maintained. Like, there is this I don't know, maybe a through line from the real history that has been passed on, either by, I guess, through family and like oral tradition,
yes,
or I guess just documents, right?
Yeah,
which is
correct.
I mean, if anything, like the bureaucratic nightmare of documentation. I guess that there are some good things about that. Is that, well, especially like within government, there's a form for everything.
Correct.
Which is annoying as hell, but also it can be a good thing, because then we have all these documents saying, oh, well, actually, here are some truths that you didn't know about. So that's really cool. Did you have anything else you want to say?
No. No, I think that was. I mean, that was definitely my just. It was just a seed that was planted, you know, and it always just stuck with me, and you know, I'm grateful for it. You know, just I mean, a lot of people out here are asleep and just don't know what's really going on. You know, they're just happy to be, you know, being fed food and water and repeat.
It's we're in our, you know, we're programmed that way. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, I guess I'll go. So, let's see. I pretty much relate my sort of awakening story, or however you want to say it. You know, how I got awoke. Really is pretty simple. Like, I think I'm predisposed to, you know, the idea of trust no one and conspiracies. Just like as a young boy, I was that like 6-year-old that went to the library and read books about UFOs and like Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster and stuff, and you know, that's the kind of stuff that interested me, and I really don't know why. That's just how I started. I was just this little boy that used to read about UFOs and stuff, and I think I believed in things that could be classified as paranormal or supernatural. Okay. You know, just for no good reason. Maybe just because I have like a vivid imagination or something. But I always kind of believed that there's like maybe more to the world as we experience it, more than we know, right? Like, it's like, and you know, I don't know, being a little boy, that seems like I mean, from the perspective of like a little boy, like my understanding of the world is, I mean, I didn't think about the larger machinations of the world for a long time. Like, I was just stuck in my mind for many years. Like, so anyway, I was just this boy reading up all this stuff, watching as many UFO you know, stories as I could. Remember those shows back in the day, Unsolved Mysteries, or like what was it? There's some other show that like would every few weeks have a UFO story. I think there was one called Sightings too.
Sightings.
Right? I think I watched that, and there was and of course the X-Files, which I probably shouldn't have watched because I got plenty of nightmares from that as a kid. but
I definitely
and as a kid, I think I was way like I was saying, right? Like, yeah, we know now. When you watch X-Files now, which I recently tried to rewatch, like most of them to try and prep for the new season, you know, but
correct.
I didn't get through it, but still though, it just became apparent to me now. I was like, wow, this is all like disclosure, just you know, or strands of disclosure, I guess you could say. You know,
yes,
they're kind of telling you how it is in a way, in the form of fiction, which is a whole other thing that I'm fascinated with. But so yeah, I was watching all this programming as a kid that kind of was about conspiracies and, you know, don't trust the government. And I don't know, there's probably a bunch of other reasons why, you know, from the way my parents were and whatnot, like why I was already predisposed to just not trusting authority figures, not trusting what some state entity is telling me, you know, about how it is versus my experience, just being and seeing, and it didn't line up. So anyway, then this is, you know, fast forward, you know, I'm like to about maybe like a year ago, I guess.
About a year,
when
I would say a year.
Yeah, I start this new job. I meet this guy at work, Nijii, and I forget why, but because of my commute to work is long, so I'm like, I guess I'll listen to stuff in the car,
Mm-hmm.
I get tired of listening to like podcasts about, I used to listen to like Star Wars podcasts and stuff like all day long, and I got tired of listening to stuff that was just about the media that I was consuming, and I don't know why, it just got old, and something was kind of nagging at me. And at some point there was a video linked to like, when when you watch stuff on YouTube, it is recording everything you do.
Yes.
And something, it has a feed, it says watch this next, you will like this, so one of them was like a video, something about aliens or UFO, this, that.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't know. It may have even been like just like a Secure Team video, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that know what Secure Team is, but which I don't subscribe to that channel anymore. But it was something like that popped up, and something in me just went, you know what? Screw this Star Wars stuff. Why don't I just listen to this alien video or this UFO video? Sure. And it did. And I mean, long story short, here I am now. It was like that just opened up this like, what? And then you start seeing stuff in your YouTube feed when you're searching, it's like, what are you talking about? USA is a conspiracy, or like a corporation. Or like,
yeah.
What? And then you're like, 9/11, what? And you start seeing like, oh man. In fact, probably I think it went from UFOs to like secret technology or something.
Yes.
And then eventually got into 9/11.
Got to 9/11.
Yeah. But like the 9/11, directed energy weapons and then
the domes and
and then it just becomes like, wow. It's once your mind is open, you start seeing everything differently, and then it's one thing leads to another, then you go deeper and deeper, and you start peeling back the onion, and suddenly it's like, what the fuck? Sorry, I don't know if that's okay on YouTube, but then it starts going like, is this? I swear this is like some gigantic interlocking web. This like giant, like I like to think of it as like a unified field conspiracy or something like that. Anyway, so back to, I was thinking about UFOs, and then I just happened to be at work, and I was like, hey, I don't know why, I don't know why. Why did I talk to you about UFO? That's because you don't talk to people about that stuff, right? You don't talk about that stuff. No. You just kind of keep it to yourself, because if you do, then you're a weirdo, and are you a conspiracy theorist, or are you a, whatever.
And that whole term was made up by them,
Yeah.
It's the topic is deep, so just...
For some reason, I was like, hey, have you ever seen a UFO?
Yes, I have to say, yes, it was definitely unidentified, and it was flying, and it was an object, so the answer will have to be yes.
I think that was kind of, and so once it was like I had somebody to talk to about that stuff, I think it just became just back and forth, and then here we are.
Here we are, like...
we are like a year later. And
a year later.
It's like, oh, shit, now I can't close my mind.
It's... If you want to be awake, it's very liberating. It's free. But you must be warned, you cannot go back.
Yeah.
So if you're happy where you are, and are satisfied being cattle, and you're satisfied as being asleep, I don't know really what else to say. I just want to give it to you just straight, just no chaser. Just
But some people I think are actually like happy, and that's like and that's fine. It's not up
exactly.
To, it's not like we're I like to think that there's no. Everyone's got their own path. Everyone's got their own timeline. Like, obviously, I had mine, you had yours.
Yes.
Everyone's different. Like I can't even talk with this. Like, I can't talk about this kind of stuff with most other people in my life. So it's clearly we're all on our own different timelines here, or paths. But I don't know.
next week.
That's my story. Now I'm a freaking, cynical, jaded, awoke person who looks at every single thing around me and is like, oh wait, there's an Illuminati symbol, or there's a movie with predictive programming and perception management. It's like harder to maybe. It's kind of harder to like enjoy the simple things that I think we used to partake in. But it's also, like you said, it's very liberating. It's very I feel like a little bit more maybe in control. Or no, that's stupid. But well, at least I'm more aware.
You're more aware. You're more aware of the control.
Of how controlled we all are.
So, but it's.
I'd rather be aware, I guess.
Of the control, because you kind of.
It's like that conversation we had where there was a coworker and he mentioned something about have you seen that scene in The Matrix? When, the guy who gives them up. He's like, I know this steak is just a bunch of ones and zeros or whatever. I'm like paraphrasing, right? And it's not a real steak, but you know what? I want to eat it. Like I want to enjoy steak. I don't want to have all that mush that we have in the real world. Like who needs the real world if it's a bunch of mush? I guess And so I'd rather have the mush.
I'd rather have the mush.
So that's
because I know it's real.
So if anybody out there is listening, and hopefully you guys want to go with us on this, and I guess that's that. Do we have anything else to say? All right. Well, signing off.
Nijii.
Urbanamp.
We're out.